All right, this is Missouri. I'm not going to tell you anymore. Show me.
On November 22nd, 2025, hundreds of the best college runners in America gathered in Columbia, Missouri for the NCAA Cross Country Championships. But this wasn't just any race day. The weather was foggy and the grass was wet, making the course tougher than usual. Despite these challenging conditions, what happened next would completely rewrite the record books. Let's start with the women's 6K race because this one had everyone talking. The main story was about Jane Hedengren, a true freshman from BYU. Now, when I say she dominated this season, that's putting it lightly. In her regional race just weeks earlier, she won by more than 40 seconds. That's a massive gap in cross country. She came into nationals trying to do something that hadn't been done in 40 years. Only one woman had ever won this title as a true freshman, and that was back in 1985.
How about that for Jane Hedengren on her initial run on the Gans Creek course with an 18:42.3.
But standing in her way was Alabama's Doris Lemngole, the defending champion who was 23 years old and much more experienced. This was going to be a battle. The gun went off and the race started incredibly fast. The first kilometer came in at 2 minutes and 59 seconds. To put that in perspective, that's a pace of 4 minutes and 49 seconds per mile. That's blazing fast for a 6K race. And right at the front, you guessed it, Jane Hedengren and Doris Lemngole running side by side. Hedengren kept pushing the pace through 2 kilometers, coming through in 6 minutes and 7 seconds, still under 5 minutes per mile. She was doing exactly what she had done all season, taking it out hard and trying to break everyone. At the halfway point, 3 runners had broken away from the pack. It was Lemngole, Hedengren, and another runner named Rosemary Longisa. They hit 3K in 9 minutes and 13 seconds, and everyone watching knew something special was happening. Shortly after that mark, Lemngole and Hedengren dropped Longisa. Now it was just the two of them. The freshman versus the defending champion. The experience versus the fearless newcomer. They were so far ahead that by the 4K split, they had almost 50 meters on everyone else. The battle continued at a ridiculous pace. They came through 5K in 15 minutes and 24 seconds. Both runners kept making moves, trying to break each other. Lemngole would push hard, but Hedengren wouldn't break. Then Hedengren would surge to the side, but Lemngole stayed right there. But with about 800 meters to go, something changed. Lemngole finally started to pull away. She opened up a gap of 10 to 15 meters on the young freshman, and she kept pushing all the way to the finish line. Doris Lemngole crossed the finish line in 18 minutes and 25.4 seconds. Let me repeat that because it's important. 18 minutes and 25 seconds for 6 kilometers. That wasn't just fast. That was the fastest time ever run at an NCAA championship. Ever. She had just broken the record and defended her title at the same time.
And it has been a while since we've had a repeat champion. Sheila Reed from Villanova, 2010-2011. Roll Tide, it is Doris Lemngole.
Jane Hedengren came in second with a time of 18 minutes and 38.9 seconds. She was 13 seconds behind, but her time was still the second fastest ever run at nationals. Florida's Hilda Olemo-Moy finished third in 18 minutes and 46.4 seconds.
Defending her championship, and what a run by the freshman, Jane Hedengren.
She gave everything she had to stay with Doris up that hill, and it cost her more.
Here's what makes this even more crazy. The top 6 finishers all ran the fastest times in championship history. Not just fast times, the fastest ever. In fact, 19 of the top 20 fastest times ever recorded at NCAAs happened in this one race. The wet conditions should have slowed everyone down, but instead, we witnessed history. After the race, Hedengren posted on Instagram about what happened. She wrote, "I went to nationals believing I could win, so I raced with that belief. I took the lead, took the risk, and put myself in the mix. With about 600 meters to go, my body was finally done, but I'm grateful for the chance to learn." She continued, "There's something powerful about pushing yourself, racing the best, and finding out more about who you are becoming." Then she ended with, "The foundation is set." For the team race, NC State won their 4th championship in 5 years with 114 points. Their runners Hannah Gapes and Grace Hartman finished 5th and 6th, just 1.3 seconds apart. It was an emotional win for the Wolfpack. BYU came in second with 130 points, and Oregon took third with 153 points. Now let's talk about the men's 10K race because this story might be even better. Habtom Samuel from New Mexico had finished second at Nationals 2 years in a row. In 2024, he actually lost one of his running spikes during the race and still managed to finish second. This year, he wasn't leaving anything to chance.
2 years in a row, how does it feel to get the win?
Oh yeah, this is amazing. This is amazing. After these past 2 years, I just finished runner-up. I was like, keep working hard. I didn't ever give up,
The race started fast, just like the women's. True freshman Tavon Kitchen from BYU took the lead early and held it for much of the first 5 kilometers. It was a big pack running together, very tactical. Runners like Brian Musso from Oklahoma State, Rocky Hansen from Wake Forest, and Samuel were all waiting for the right moment to make their move. They came through 5K in 14 minutes and 25 seconds, on pace for around 28 minutes and 50 seconds. Still, nobody had made a big move yet. Everyone was being patient. Then, with 1 mile to go, Habtom Samuel exploded. And I mean exploded. He surged away from the entire field with such force that you could see the determination on his face. This was his moment, and he was taking it. Here's how crazy his move was. From 8K to 9K, Samuel ran a split of 2 minutes and 38 seconds. That's the equivalent of running a 4-minute and 13-second mile. In a 10K race, after already running 8 kilometers, on wet grass, it was probably one of the fastest single kilometers in NCAA Cross Country history. Only Rocky Hansen and Brian Musso tried to go with him, but they couldn't match his speed. Samuel just kept pulling away, looking smooth and in control. With about 50 meters left, he started celebrating, arms out wide as he crossed the finish line. His winning time was 28 minutes and 33.9 seconds. That's the 9th fastest time ever run at an NCAA championship. After the race, Samuel explained his strategy. He said, "I kind of planned on not coming with the guys through 400 meters or something. I know some guys at 1,500. Maybe they're going to kick me out. So I prefer to just run longer and just run hard. That was my plan." It was perfect execution. He waited, he struck at the right moment, and he ran away from everyone when it mattered most. Rocky Hansen finished second in 28 minutes and 38 seconds, and Washington State's Solomon Kipchoge was third in 28 minutes and 40.1 seconds. The top 9 finishers all ran times that ranked in the top 39 fastest ever. But there was also drama on the team side. Oklahoma State won the team title with 57 points, finishing an undefeated season. They put 4 runners in the top 12, with Brian Musso 4th, Fuad Messaoudi 5th, and Dennis Kipngetich 6th. However, before the race, there was controversy. BYU's coach Ed Eyestone had commented about international recruiting in college cross country, saying, "I always felt I'd be embarrassed to have 7 foreigners on the team." Oklahoma State's coach Dave Smith fired back in the pre-race press conference. He said, "I have no problem with anybody running their program within the rules and doing things the way they should be done. If I believe that someone doesn't like a rule or doesn't like a situation in the NCAA, don't complain about it. Go change it. Get involved. Get involved in the sport. Get involved in leadership and make change the way change is supposed to be made. Otherwise, shut up and coach your team." That's what I think about this stuff. Then his team went out and dominated, which must have felt pretty good.
Wilson and Dedman headed to Paris, and they meet the line at the same time. 44.2.
While professional runners train for years to break the 45-second barrier in the 400 meters, a 17-year-old high school student just ran faster than almost every pro in the world. His name is Quincy Wilson, and his story is one of the most amazing things happening in track and field right now. Quincy goes to Bullis School in Maryland. He's a regular high school senior who gets straight A's, hangs out with his friends, and thinks about his homework before he goes to sleep. But on the track, he's anything but regular. On July 12th in Memphis, Tennessee, he lined up against Olympic champions and world-class professionals. When the race was over, his time read 44.10 seconds.
Wilson was inside his covering before inside coming. Can Wilson hold on? It is going to be Quincy Wilson!
To understand how fast that is, you need to know that only 3 men in the entire world ran faster than Quincy in 2025. Not 3 high schoolers, 3 people total. He tied with Matthew Hudson Smith, the Olympic silver medalist from Great Britain. That's the company Quincy is keeping at just 17 years old.
And that time of 4.
The race in Memphis wasn't close. Quincy started in lane 5, right next to Steve Gardner from the Bahamas, who won the Olympic gold medal in Tokyo back in 2021. Within the first 80 meters, Quincy was already up on Gardner's shoulder. He ran the opening 200 meters with complete confidence, then pulled away in the final stretch. His closest competitor, Bryce Dedman, finished almost 0.3 of a second behind him. After the race, Quincy explained what made the difference. "If you see my races before, I haven't been getting out of the blocks well," he told the crowd. "My coach has been telling me stay on the process, do what we've got to do. I went out there and shot out like a bullet. I'm super thankful and blessed." That 44.10 broke Quincy's own world record for athletes under 18 years old. It also moved him to second place on the all-time list for athletes under 20. The only person ahead of him is Steve Lewis, an American who ran 43.87 at the 1988 Olympics when he was 19 years old. Quincy is still 17. He has time.
There, who is Stephen Lewis of the United States and Danny Everett. Will the 19-year-old hang on? Here comes Butch Reynolds. The race to the finish line. Reynolds with that surge, but Everett hung on. Or I should say Lewis hung on.
But Memphis wasn't his first big moment. Actually, Quincy has been breaking records since he was in 8th grade. Back then, he ran 47.5 seconds, and people started paying attention. By the time he turned 16, he was running under 45 seconds. Most professional runners never get there. What really put Quincy on the map was the 2024 U.S. Olympic trials. He showed up as a 16-year-old high school student and ran 3 straight races under 45 seconds. In the preliminary round, he clocked 44.66.
Here they come off the turn, the top 5 advance. Quincy Wilson, the high school sophomore from Maryland.
2 days later in the semifinals, he improved to 44.59. In the final, he ran 44.94 and finished 6th overall. Those times earned him a spot on the U.S. Olympic relay team. Quincy became the youngest American male track athlete ever to make an Olympic team. When Team USA won gold in the 4x400-meter relay in Paris, Quincy earned a gold medal too. He ran in the preliminary heats, which means he officially contributed to the victory. At 16 years old, he became the second youngest track and field Olympic gold medalist in history. But being young and talented also comes with pressure. After the Olympics, Quincy's life changed fast. His Instagram followers jumped to almost 400,000. Every time he races, crowds mob him for pictures. At one meet in Virginia Beach, fans nearly toppled him and his teammates after a relay race. The attention is constant. Quincy said, "Since I've grown up to be kind of a child star, I kind of realize that now people have expectations of me." He handles it by staying close to his tight circle of friends at Bully School. Colin Abrams, Chris Tangelo, and Javante Williams are all track athletes too, and they support each other through the pressure. "We try to live the moment the most we can," Quincy explained, "because we know that some of these opportunities we have may never come again." His family plays a huge role in keeping him grounded. Quincy's father, Roy, was a running back in the Navy and later commanded a submarine for over 20 years. His mother, Monique, played college soccer and now keeps Quincy focused on what matters. She reminds him constantly to stay on task. If she catches him scrolling through TikTok instead of paying attention, she'll call him out immediately. That focus shows up in the classroom just as much as on the track. Quincy has never scored below a 94 on any report card. He's interested in mechanical engineering and sports journalism. In English class, his classmates joke that he's like ChatGPT because he's so good at writing essays. "The feeling you get when you have a bad grade, I just can't live with that feeling," he said. "I can't live with the bad feeling of not having the work done or thinking about the work I didn't complete when I go to sleep." That same perfectionist drive makes him nearly unstoppable in races. At the 2024 Penn Relays, Quincy showed exactly what he's capable of when things go wrong. In the preliminary round, one of his teammates got tripped and had to recover the baton. Bully School fell way behind. Quincy got the baton for the anchor leg and had 5 runners ahead of him. Somehow, he caught every single one of them. His split was 44.37 seconds, the fastest high school split ever recorded at Penn Relays. His team won their heat and moved on to the finals. Later that same day in the finals, another teammate fell during the second exchange. Once again, Quincy got the baton with his team far behind. He ran another sub-45 split at 44.69 seconds, but this time the gap was too big. They finished third. Still, watching a 16-year-old chase down Olympic-level runners twice in one day felt supernatural to everyone in the stands. "I've always just tried to be the last one standing," Quincy said about his approach. "Once I find the tactic, I just think to myself, if I can beat him on this leg, I'm going to stick to it." That competitive fire actually started at home playing Monopoly with his family. Long game sessions taught him to outlast everyone else. After a while, he said, "I started to win because I stayed up." Quincy also has a mentor in Vernon Norwood, a 33-year-old Olympic gold medalist who lives in Louisiana. They met for the first time in June 2024 and immediately connected. They play NBA 2K together online, where Quincy uses a character that looks like him but can dunk and shoot threes like a professional basketball player. When they were both at the Paris Olympics, Vernon acted as Quincy's chaperone anytime he left the Olympic Village, which is required for athletes under 18. Vernon sees something special in Quincy. Vernon said, "He's a phenomenal athlete, and it's rare to see that type of talent come around. So when you do, you want to nurture and develop it and make sure he can become the greatest." His advice to Quincy is simple: keep the main thing the main thing. Being such a high-profile person now, it will come with a whole lot. He has to stay grounded. The 2025 season hasn't been perfect, though. In May, Quincy lost to another high schooler named Jaden Horton-Mims, who ran 45.24 and took over the #1 ranking. People started whispering online. Had Quincy plateaued? Was all the Olympic hype too much? Memphis was his answer. That 44.10 silenced every doubter and proved that his Olympic performance wasn't luck. He's genuinely one of the fastest 400-meter runners on the planet. Right now, only 0.77 seconds separate Quincy from Steve Lewis's under-20 world record of 43.87. Michael Johnson's American record of 43.18 sits about 1 second away. Given how fast Quincy has been improving each year, both records feel possible.
Gout has done the unthinkable, breaking the 10-second barrier in the 100 meters twice in one night.
Europe just received a sprinting talent who shouldn't be flying under the radar. At only 17, Gout is producing the kind of jaw-dropping speed that signals a generational star, yet almost no one has noticed his arrival. That silence won't last long. On August 23, 2025, in Queensland, Australia, Gout blasted to a stunning 9.94 in the 100 meters. The time was unofficial, overlooked, and somehow barely earned a headline. Why? Let's get this out of the way. The 9.94 won't go down in the official books because it was hand-timed. The margin of error, typically 0.2 to 0.3 seconds, means it doesn't count for records. But this wasn't some practice jog. Gout's manager, James Templeton, said, "It's a low-key event, the GPS, school meet, but it's good to get a run in, a nice little warm-up, and shows the form he is in for Tokyo in 3 weeks." That form wasn't a fluke. It was a warning. To understand how wild this is, consider the context. Gout already ran a wind-assisted 9.99 at the national championships in April. Before that, his legal best was 10.17, set at just 16 years old. The raw speed has been there, but the consistency, that's new. And it's terrifying, because while other teens are running junior times, Gout is putting up numbers that rival full-grown Olympians. And this wasn't a one-time thing. This was Gout's second sub-10-second run in just 4 months. That alone places him in an elite category, regardless of timing method. When you combine that with his 200-meter numbers, the comparisons to sprint legends become unavoidable.
So let's watch the young superstar rise. He's flying. He will be Gout of this universe.
Earlier in 2025, Gout ran a wind-assisted 19.84 to win the 200-meter national title. Then in June, during a short European tour, he dropped a legal 20.02 at the Golden Spike meet in Ostrava, Czech Republic, breaking the Oceanian record set by Peter Norman 56 years ago. That race was his international senior debut. No nerves, no missteps, just domination. And yet, despite breaking historic records, this kid isn't even on every radar. Why? Because it's not happening in the US or Jamaica. because the meets he's running aren't always broadcast. Because, quite frankly, the world still hasn't figured out how to take Australia seriously in sprinting. But that may be about to change. The Tokyo 2025 World Athletics Championships were the first real stage for Gout. He didn't enter the 100 meters, he's still saving that for future championships, but he did line up in the 200 meters, facing off against global stars like Noah Lyles and Letziel Tebogo.